Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. And as OpTic just about get over the line in a crazy Game 5 round 11 last night against Los Angeles Thieves, it turns out right now they're so confident in their gameplay they were pulling in Atlanta FaZe from Cold War, trying out maps they're not particularly good at to get better reps for the major. Was it a particularly good idea in this particular series? Will it help them in the long run? Very much intrigued to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you're new as always, I'd greatly appreciate it. When you upset the channel, thank you very much indeed for doing that. Shotzzy of course has been having a good time as the instigator, it seems, these last few days. Thought this is kind of funny actually from Zero, what he had to say in the chat right here. I know exactly what I'm doing. But let's talk about Los Angeles Thieves, right? Because last night they looked so much better than they did the day before when they lost to London 3-0 with the substitute on the roster. And well, as Kenny says, bad practice leads to bad performances. Taking today as a reset and moving forward. They looked so much better yesterday. But again, like, I mean, their Search and Destroy looks great on Desert Siege. We'll talk about that in a second because it's not a map that OpTic often play. And well, seemingly for good reason at the present time. But it was that Game 5 Search and Destroy that really Thieves should have won. I mean, there were so many moments that they threw away advantages, and the final round where they kind of turtled up and didn't do anything. Reminiscent in a way of when OpTic beat Boston in that Game 2 round 11, I think it was, when they played them in the Major 1 groups. They're kind of pretty much a must-win series for OpTic, or maybe it wasn't a must-win because they'd beaten Toronto at that point, but they needed to win that series to get good seeding for the Major and stuff like this, and they won a crazy round 11 where Boston just turtled up and did nothing, and Shotzzy made a play in the round 11 to win it. Same thing happens here against Los Angeles Thieves, so plenty for those guys to work on, I'm sure. This also just to mention, because a few people replied to this, I thought it was worthy of discussion once again, because I mean, yeah, you can see right here he actually spawns looking this way, but the very next frame his character just flips. Like, there's no way he can actually turn around that quickly. Some sort of glitch in the game that makes this happen. Like, Dashy says I spawn looking at the sky. A couple of you guys sent in clips of this happening to you guys in League Play, so yeah, not a fun time. Thought this kind of funny as well. Rambo was like, we lost full watching that. You know, that was a lit good spawn that says JCap in the replies. I'm sure he had a good time watching it. This you know, obviously we'll get another few seconds right when Dashy can't challenge the hill. Fantastic stuff from Call of Duty Vanguard. In fairness, this type of stuff has been an issue in previous games, but it's just when it happens, like when there happens to be a spawn point right next to like the boundaries of the map. I think it also happens on Tuscan on one of the roofs that you can spawn on. You just spawn in looking backwards and unlucky lads, like go again. If this happens in Champs Grand Finals, like look, they need to try and get on top of some of this stuff, I would argue. This also from Drazah, right? The last two series have been pretty tough for him. So frustrating to be in the slump when I was just playing so well. Need to flip the switch and get back to where I was in Respawn. That's the thing. Like eventually, the dominance that LA Thieves had in Respawn is going to come to an end. Can they step up their Search and Destroy game to compensate? They look like they were doing that yesterday, but as OpTic going to describe here in a second, Desert Siege is not really a map that they're super confident or have that much experience playing against top teams going into this series. They picked it because it's been decent in their practice. They wanted to try it out in a proper series. And interesting really that OpTic decided to do this in a series against LA Thieves, another top 5 team in the league, right? As Jacob says, fundamentals have gone out the window since Major 1, lost 4 or 5 rounds with numbers that Game 5. Like, that's the thing, the respawns have kind of fallen off to some degree, but the Search and Destroy, if anything, has always looked like this for Thieves so far this game. Like, so many mistakes. They had plenty of chances to close out that series cleaner than they did. They lose it in the end, Game 5 round, and you've got to credit the clutch factor on that side of things. But of course, if it had been the other way around, people would have been talking a lot more, I think, about the idea of, okay, should OpTic have gone down the route of playing the matches that they did, playing the maps that they did. 2 maps in particular, they really don't have all that much practice on against top teams. They play it in this series against LA Thieves. They decide to let it through. These pretty good maps in general. We'll have a look at here in a second. And well, they lose both of those games. But in the long run, this could actually work out fantastically for them, because I think really this series has been pretty much as good as it could have gone for OpTic. They win this series anyway and get reps on maps they're not particularly comfortable with. So Scump says, let's go. GG's Thieves won 3-2. And then some reaction from the coaching staff, right? So as Rambo says, GG's to the LA Thieves squad. Nice to finally get a Game 5 round 11 win. That's the thing, to be honest. They lost 2 Game 5 round 11s right at the start of Major 1 or the Major 1 qualifiers. And that was the question. Do they have the clutch factor? Do they have the ice? They've really turned that around. I think the last few weeks, winning a load of close series and also winning a Game 5 round 11 is good for confidence. Shows that you have trust in your teammates, right? The play that Shotzzy called right towards the final round. Okay, all of us will go through B. He makes the play top 5, gets the kills. Like, that type of play, to be honest, it just goes to show the team has what it takes to win Game 5 round 11s. I think a massive confidence booster in general. As he says, heads down and back to the work for next week's matches, though. Lots of discussions to be had so we can come out cleaner. Appreciate the support. So this is kind of what it takes, really, to be a good coach and just a team in general, is that even when you win a series, I think there can be a tendency, especially with previous OpTic teams, that, let's say they won a Game 5 round 11 like this, that's okay, we won the series, don't need to delve too much into what exactly we did wrong on the other maps. But the best teams will certainly be doing that anyway, thinking, okay, we should 3-0 every single series we play. Rambo said that he'll only feel like OpTic have reached peak form when they win a series without dropping a map, which is basically a perfect standard, which you're probably never going to attain, but just the search of that makes you the best team in the game, which obviously currently they are, and they're also top of the standings right now. We'll look a little bit later today, but Cinder says, I thought this was quite interesting. GG's LA Thieves, 132. Mainly a series we wanted to work on a lot of the stuff to keep trying to complete our map pool. Obviously, sloppy S&Ds, that will get fixed. Happy we got a rep in both. So this, of course, was the Berlin hardpoint in Game 4 and the Desert Siege Search and Destroy in Game 2. They won all the Tuscans. They looked so good on the Tuscans. Like, of course, it's pretty good for OpTic. They can say, okay, wow, our hardpoint, our control on Tuscan, even our search Game 5 was, we won all those maps. The other maps they decided to throw in here, they could have played a Gavutu hardpoint where they're pretty good on. LA Thieves were on a bit of a losing streak on that map, and OpTic beat FaZe on it not long ago at the Major, of course, and they could have gone down the route of another Search and Destroy. But they play maps they're not particularly comfortable with, pretty much with the intention of getting some more reps. This is what FaZe did an awful lot last season during the regular stage matches. Like, the thing is with FaZe is that they were just so good at getting to grand finals, but they would barely ever lose. I'm pretty sure they didn't lose a single best of 9 in the grand finals last year, and that's because their map pool was so deep. They were so good at so many different maps, and Toronto were kind of in a similar boat, to be honest. And the reason why FaZe got to that point is because they would often, against kind of lower opposition, practice on maps they weren't particularly good at, or at least maps they didn't have all that much experience winning on LAN or online, at least against top opposition. So OpTic have decided, okay, we're so good, we're coming at a Major 1 so confident, they're going to go into a game against Thieves, another arguably top 5, and still certainly probably on this performance, top 5 team in the game, and say, look, we're going to do exactly that. We're going to give you maps that we're not particularly confident in, lose them as well, and still win the series. Which, it's an interesting discussion. FaZe often wouldn't do this against the top opposition, but OpTic did go on to explain they were actually quite confident on these maps. It was just something that looked good on in practice, but it didn't really translate into the match yesterday. As Cinder says, some people still don't understand how much of a different game S&D is in practice compared to league play or tournament play. Like, I'm pretty sure Shotzzy went on to say they've actually been looking pretty good on Desert Siege, at least behind the scenes with them in screwing people, probably the Texas Nation kind of academy squad thing they've got going on over there, even though they're not an official academy, of course, and Berlin they reckon they're pretty good on as well. But then in matches, things are different, right? And that's the thing, that's as I say, this is pretty much the best case scenario OpTic could have had. Because if they'd have lost this series, there'd have been questions, right? Why are you letting these maps through against a good team like Thieves? Like, you've now lost this one, you're starting off 0-1 for Major 2, not going to be great for seeding. Like, I think if the series had gone differently, if the Game 5 round 11 goes the other way, then questions are being raised about exactly what the OpTic coaches are thinking here. Because they won it, it now seems like a pretty perfect decision, because they get reps on these maps. The next time they play these maps, and they'll probably let them through again at some point against other opposition, they'll probably get better at them, right, in actual proper match play, and then if they do get to another best of 9 in the grand finals, this is going to help them against a FaZe or a London or whoever they might play in another grand finals. Rambo actually had a few words to say on this as well. Sean Collins does a nice article here at the Dallas Morning News talking about this. Couple of clips, really well, just kind of snippets. I'll leave the link down below if you guys would like to check it out. There's a huge amount of learning from what we did there. Really allows us to go back to the drawing board and figure out what we're doing right and wrong based on that. Helps improve our system for other map strategies as well. So definitely, looks great for the OpTic guys. Now they've come out this series. Yes, they got 6-0 on Desert Siege. I'm sure there's going to be a lot to dissect from that one. Like, Rambo also goes on to say we've been working hard on it, right? That's their Desert Siege. The rep we got this map was closer to where we want to be. So I think, honestly, it didn't look terrible for them. Thieves just played pretty perfect Call of Duty, I thought, that map, to be honest. It's taking us a little longer to really grasp the situation and to be in control. Once we do that, it's going to be one of our strongest maps strategically. So Rambo reckons the Desert Siege can actually be one of their strongest maps in the game if they just, play more strategically than they were doing at the present time. So you would imagine they turn things around. Looking back on the series, it looks really good for them. I'll show a quick snippet here for what Shotzzy has to say as well on the play call in the round 11, but also the fact that he reckons they're pretty good on Desert Siege and Berlin in practice. They just need to translate that into reality.
So who was the leading voice? Who was the one to make that play call?
So that entire round, I was the one making every single little play call. So
Okay.
our initial strat was to double nade the guy mid because we knew he liked playing there. And then from there, we obviously did what we did at A, and then we got a pick, but then we got blooded. So it was a 3v3, and then I said immediately, yo, let's wrap B. As soon as they get bomb, they're going to, slow play that, and we'll get their broken control. And once we did that, I killed a guy, one of the box corners mid-map, and then I killed the guy on A bomb, and then it was wraps from there.
Yo, Shotzzy, that was a beautiful play and a clutch round 11. It's what championship teams do, so congrats. I wanted to ask you sort of about the veto strategy headed into this series. You guys played Desert Siege and Berlin. Were you guys trying to test new maps or what? Because it kind of put you guys in hot water, brother. It was a tough call.
No, of course. Our desert, we're trying stuff out. We're definitely trying stuff out. I felt like we got a lot of bloods, but we were just, for some reason, getting picked in our 4v3s, and it kind of just led us to lose those rounds. I promise you guys, our desert is good. It's probably not good right now, but once we get more reps on it, I promise you, we'll be a different team on that on that map. And then when it comes down to Berlin, it's the same thing. We're in scrims, we're doing it really, really good, and then the matches, for some reason, people were flipping this out on P3 and all that good stuff. So once we finally get that situated, we'll be good on Berlin and desert.
Got to work on that P2.
Another big discussion that was going on last night was about some of the reaction to their Thieves guys when they lose a series. Of course, like, they tweet out, I tweeted up to play OpTic, I'm a moron. Like, yeah, the replies are not particularly pretty. This is just how it goes in, well, just kind of sports in general. But yeah, esports specifically, look, OpTic have so much of a fan base that, you know, there's going to be some morons that are in the OpTic fan base that are tweeting these guys. Like, you know, it just is what it is at the end of the day. But it is frustrating to see, no doubt, that, like, these guys, you know, great competitors. They've, well, Octane, for example, has been on OpTic in the past as well, right? Like, he used to have the fan base behind him just a couple of years ago, and now he's got to read through his mentions, but he doesn't have to. But if he reads through his mentions, he sees all these people flaming him for, like, you know, maybe he smiled during a map or something. There was some crazy thing that Kenny tweeted, we'll have a look at it in a second, but he says that negativity on this app is outrageous, and even Claces coming out and liking both of these tweets, right? So it does go to show that, like it does affect these pro players. Of course, like, it's sports, it's esports, like, you know, the pro players are the pros, the fans are the fans, like, there's going to be conflict there, but, like, I don't know, the reason why I like the COD scene to some degree is that at times it does feel like a community where the pros, the fans, like, you know, the casters, the commentators are all kind of at the same community trying to do the best for the scene and grow the scene as best as it can be. It is a bit frustrating to me when the fans don't, like, respect that culture. I don't know if you guys know what I mean about this. You know, it is to be expected when you lose to OpTic, but, like, it's still frustrating to see. I don't know. In fairness, I think the pros get into it a little bit too much. That's the thing with, like, the way Twitter runs Call of Duty esports is that I think the pros can't really help reading some of this stuff and then replying to it. Like, I mean, look, this reply from Jimbo, I don't know what he's playing at here, like, not the actual Jimbo that's on Paris right now, but, like, you know, Kenny doesn't need to reply, right? You know, just leave it on both sides would be what I would argue. This also from Crone, though, I don't know if you guys are aware of this. I was not aware of this until Crone tweeted this out last night. You can actually mute notifications on people. You can go through and tick all these boxes right in kind of the settings, and I went through and just selected the people who have a default profile picture, so I never see any notifications of the eggs, basically. So, yeah, but apparently this is something you can do. Apparently the pros are figuring out about it. I guess that's pretty cool. Maybe that'll help tackle this issue in the future to some degree. And just to finish up with this clip from Shotzzy that I could not believe was true, but yeah, he actually believed, supposedly, that when he was seen with Clayster on Dallas Empire, that Clayster's real name was Clay, and you know, not James Eubanks, as he's actually called. Can't believe this is even possible. Shotzzy's out of control. But very much intrigued to your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, hit on a like button, tell us your YouTube gods, this is a good video, and just like you should see it as well, and help grow the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you as always, take care, and I will see you next time.
I don't think anyone calls
Bro, I
me
didn't even
James.
know Clay's name was James, dude. I'm not even capping. I thought his name was
Like,
Clay.
between, like, Clay and
I'm like not even
Clayster.
trolling either.
I don't know, like.
But that's
Clayster
like,
maybe,
I mean,
like, a little bit more.
I mean, bro, but I came into the scene. Like, I barely came into the
What's
scene,
the
bro.
word?
Like,
I don't want to say like an egomaniac, but just like very.
no. I'm saying
confident
until we talked about it. One day we talked
and, like,
about it. I was like,
very
wait, your name's Clay?
rambunctious.